Yo, what is up, guys? I'm gonna be giving my immediate reaction to Kape versus Horiguchi, bro. Bring out the tiny violins, bro. Horiguchi lost. The gooch is not loose, bro. You know, it looked so good at first, but it got away from him. I told you guys what it was gonna be. It was in the pocket, and he did not have his hands up. He stepped too far in. He got caught. Shit was tragic. I'll go deeper into that. Navajo Sterling, really good performance. Honestly, I think you give him a top 15 guy. Really impressed with him. You know, I'm hyped for him. I think maybe Nikita Krylov is next for him, but go deeper into that. Christian Rodriguez freaking head kicked the shit out of Hyder Emil. You know, Magomedov just, did his thing. He freaking got a twister submission, dude. Like, that shit is crazy. Vinicius Oliveira, yo, he was throwing some UFC 5 combos. I'm not even like, this shit was crazy. He was in flow state. And, the rest are nobodies. But, Ilya Taporia won against Benoit Saint Denis. You know what I'm saying? On the undercard, Shane Collins had a good performance. Borjas got the upset. So, good card. I was happy with it. It was pretty entertaining. They announced, Usman and Dricus Du Plessis, and I think that matchup is going to be fire. I'll probably make a video on that as well, just banger matchup. But on to the main event. Let's go a deep breakdown on this. Horiguchi started off so well, man. Like, the speed was too much at first with the 1-2s and even the body kicks. Kape caught the first two body kicks, and, it wasn't looking too good. And then Horiguchi was able to, move into them a little bit more, stab with them. And, also he kind of crashed in when Kape would try to blitz in and throw a bunch of combos, and that helped him as well to get out of those situations. But, man, I'm sad, bro. I'm sad. Like, he was hurting Kape too. Like, he had his legs hurt. He rocked him 2 or 3 times where, it looked like he was going to be able to, put on a finish to him, but it wasn't enough. There was a takedown that Horiguchi had got that really was just Manel Kape almost just falling over and stumbling backwards. And then Horiguchi ended up on top. And dude, it's tragic, bro. I'm sorry. I just don't like Manel Kape that much. Like, he was more respectful this time around, and I like his antics, but I just can't, bro. He has to be on roids, dude. That shit is, dude, he has a boob, bro. He has a boob. So, what can I say, man? He's going to verse the winner of Pantoja and Van. I think Van can win it, bro. I think Van is just, he has the momentum. Pantoja coming back from the injury. So, it's probably going to be Van for him next. And I think Van can piece him up because, Horiguchi, the movement is better than Van's, but Van can box better on the inside. And there's always a chance you get caught by Manel Kape, but I think it's tough, bro. Van gets caught sometimes. He does get hit. So, honestly, an interesting matchup when the time comes for that. If it does, I'll make a breakdown, see how it goes. But what's next for Horiguchi? Bro, I don't know, honestly, dude. Maybe if Pantoja loses, you could do him and Pantoja. I know that, they're teammates, but Horiguchi would want to fight him. So, just really kind of, I'm not upset. I'm disappointed, bro. I'm disappointed, bro. You were supposed to do it for us, Horiguchi, but, I can't even be mad. It was a great finish, great finishing instincts, honestly. Was able to get the uppercut on the ground and pound, and it was amazing, honestly. And, like I said, respectful and everything. So can't complain as much, but, he's good, bro. He's good. I can't lie. I can't even be salty, but, our guy didn't win tonight. We would have gone perfect on the main card too. That's why I was so upset. And he had it in the bag, but just as he was about to get he was having his legs hurt, but it's whatever, man. Navajo Sterling, Ian Kutalaba, Navajo Sterling gets it done. Kutalaba was able to get some wrestling success, and, Sterling honestly didn't have too impressive of takedown defense, but he really had great scrambles, especially for his weight. And, cardio looked good, honestly, because there was times where he slowed down a little bit with his striking, and he has very technical striking, so it doesn't hurt him as much. But, was able to continue wrestling, got back on top a couple of times where it wasn't looking so good for him. And, really great performance, honestly. Like, I really want to see him and Nikita Krylov. I think, that's a great striking matchup. And, bro, I didn't realize how big he was. He has a lot of muscle on him. I think he could really have some success if he, polishes up his wrestling game. I think there's a big future for him in this division because, the division is wide open. I don't think he'll be, a future champ or whatever, but I do think that, if he develops more, we could see him in the top 5 potentially. But for now, definitely a top 15 guy. Nikita Krylov, in Kutalaba, bro. Back to the freak, bro. You're just go back to being Hulk. I don't know what to say to you, but nah, honestly, good fight. Like, he fought well for the competition. Like, Sterling is not an easy fight. And, he gave him a tough matchup. He really wrestled him in the first round and was able to get some success. But that's what happens, bro. Navajo Sterling, easy win, easy prediction. On to the next. Christian Rodriguez. We got this pick right. We got this pick. Dominic, bro. Evil Dominic Cruz, bro. Get out of here, man. Like, head kick, then into the submission. I mean, just a great performance. I was not expecting all that. I really wasn't. But, he was able to get it done. And, everyone was really picking him for, submission or a decision, but not like that. Not with a head kick. Hyder Mill was not able to get going at all. And your time has come, buddy. You're cooked. You're too old. I think he's 36. So, I mean, after a knockout like that, like, he looked pretty rough after the submission as well. It's like same kind of thing that happened to Macy Barber, kind of like just getting knocked down and then getting instantly submitted after, pretty much. It wasn't as bad as the Macy Barber situation, but still, it's not looking good for you, bro. I mean, dude, we got to send him back to the Apex, bro. Right back to the Apex. And that's where you belong, man. Christian Rodriguez, easy pick right there. WW. Let's go. Magomedov beats Basharan. Basharan looked good in the first 10 seconds when he was throwing his kicks, but you could see the strike numbers. 3 strikes. I mean, what can I even say? Magomedov hit the twister submission right as he got on the ground. He almost got a rear naked choke, then transitioned to the twist. I mean, it was crazy. You almost never see that, but I'm telling you, this guy is a problem. He will be, I hope this guy gets ranked, honestly. He's an entertaining fighter. He doesn't shy away from the fight. Good all around. I'm interested to see this guy. I think, keep an eye on this guy. Maybe I'll make an a underrated prospects video and he might be on it because, bro, he is the real deal. But easy pick again. I think, Basharan is a good, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but he's a good striker, but I just don't feel as if that he fits well into MMA striking and just the whole mix of it. Magomedov, really good win. Vinicius Oliveira, Andre Philly. This was an interesting fight because, Philly was able to hit him a few times, but really Oliveira was just spamming combos, bro. He was holding L1 and square and triangle. Literally at the end of the fight, he would just hold on to him and just club him with shots and continued with the hooks. And there was one time where, I don't know if it was that Oliveira was sprawling on a takedown, but he did a backflip out of something. I don't even know what it was. He went flying in the air. Entertaining fight. It looked like he polished up his striking since the last time. So I'm honestly happy about this. I'm not going to hate on you as much. I'm a hater on Vinicius Oliveira for the most part, but I'm not going to hate on you for this. It was a good win. I mean, we like to see some jabs, bro. You could jab, but hey, man, it was entertaining. I'm not going to hate on him. He had these crazy leg kicks where he would just chop them and had a lot of success with it. Limited Philly's movements and, was able to get him against the cage. And once Oliveira gets you up against the cage, he's dangerous. If you can't counter strike at a high level, he's going to be able to hit you. And, bro, he hits hard. He's not going to go and knock you out with one of those clubbing shots. I just don't think they're technical enough. He needs to tighten up his shots and he would find a knockout like that. But, the elbows were questionable as well. He kind of had these elbows over the top that were barely hitting the back of the head. I know we had that whole thing with Alex Pereira and Herb Dean where, it's only this little part of the back of the head that's technically ruled as a back of the head strike. But whatever it is, it looks sus. And of course it has to be Herb Dean in there. So that's the only thing for me. But, I think it was fair on Oliveira's part. Like, the guy is kind of ducking his head. So, it's interesting where the UFC goes with these back of the head strikes, because it's obviously seems like it's a reoccurring theme, and it's happened a lot more, especially with you being able to do 12 to 6 elbows. So that's like, really scary for some of these people. But yeah, I mean, I would like to see Oliveira maybe get a ranked opponent. I mean, you could throw him up against, like, I don't think Dan Ige is even ranked anymore, but maybe Dan Ige. I think that's like a challenging fight for him. It really will test him, see how he's evolving. Didn't use really much wrestling in this fight, but I think he could have some success with that in that fight. He's a bigger guy. I think Ige is a little bit smaller than him, so it would be interesting to see Ige against him. Philly, bro, it's rough for him. I mean, maybe you get him on some, like, certain fight cards on the prelims, bro. I mean, your time has come, bro. Like, I don't think we're gonna see Andre Philly in the rankings ever again. And you're washed, bro. You're washed. Respectfully, you're a great guy, great fighter, but your time has come. Vinicius Oliveira, good win. Kevin Borjas got a good upset win, dude. Like, he just kept moving. This guy was impressive. Like, he was on his bike a little bit, but still had a lot of good combos. Spinning heel kick, I saw that he hit. It was good. It was a good performance. Lima was not able to really find much while pressuring Borjas. So, that's pretty much it for that one. I mean, Borjas, great upset win. I think Lima was a big favorite. So, honestly, great. And yeah, the rest are nobody. So, I'm really happy with that card. I think it was a lot of fun stuff and a lot of great performances. But, Horiguchi, you sold, bro. But that's still my boy. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I'm gonna end off the video here. Let me know in the comments how you guys thought, who you guys picked, if you got your picks right, just let me know. I'm probably gonna make a video very soon, maybe tomorrow, on DDP versus Kamaru Usman. That's a really interesting fight. What's next for Kamaru Usman? Will he stay at middleweight? Will he go back down? Whatever he does, I'm interested. I think he could pull off that win, but we'll get into that later. Peace.